Hello, boys and girls. I wanted to share a story with you today. And this book is called My School's a Zoo. And it is written by Stu Smith and illustrated by David Catrow. My School's a Zoo. Here we can see an elephant and a little boy sitting at a desk and a bird. And I wanted to share this story with you because we've been preparing for our field trip to the zoo, and we've been learning about all different kinds of animals and things we might see at the zoo. So I wanted to share this story with you. And I really like this story. I really like this book because of the illustrations. They're so beautiful. There's so many different colors. There's lots of details. And I'm going to show you some of those pictures as we move through the story, okay? My School's a Zoo by Stu Smith, illustrated by David Catrow. My School's a Zoo. And don't worry about these sticky notes over here. They're just for me to remember a few things as we read through our story. All right, let's take a look at our title page here. It says, My School's a Zoo. I want you to take a look at this picture here, and I want you to make a prediction about what this story might be about. Let's take a look at the title again, and here we have a crab eating lunch. And there's some ants here. This crab has a cookie in his hand and he's drinking some clam juice. It looks like he's in a lunchbox. So I want you to take a moment and make a prediction about what this story might be about. And once you have your prediction, I want you to show me your muscles. Show me your muscles once you have a prediction made. And then we're going to turn and share those predictions with a friend. So think really hard and use this picture in the title to make a prediction about what the text might be about. All right, I'm seeing lots of muscles. So turn and share with a friend about your prediction about what our book might be about today. So I'll give you a moment to do that. All right, has everyone shared their predictions with a friend? Okay, let's get started. Yesterday's trip to the zoo left me feeling rather strange, like my life was somehow different or just about to change. My parents didn't look the same. I watched them snort and drool. My sister ate my homework. I'm glad it's time for school. Oh my goodness, so we can see here that his mom is now a zebra and his dad is a warthog and they're eating breakfast. Oh, and it looks like his little sister is some kind of animal. I'm not sure what she is. How do you think our main character is feeling? Coming down to the kitchen for breakfast and seeing that the rest of his family are animals. He's probably feeling pretty confused, maybe a little scared. As I climbed aboard the school bus, my heart began to race. The driver waved his hairy arms with banana on his face. Animals crammed in every seat. Where'd all the people go? There has to be an answer. I bet Miss Wright will know. All right, let's take another look at this illustration. There is an orangutan driving the school bus. It looks like he's been eating some bananas. And there's all different kinds of animals back here on the bus. What I find really funny about this picture is here there's a sign that says, "Don't slip," but there's banana peels all over the steps. Raise your hand if you have an idea of what may happen when our main character here gets to school. So he woke up this morning and his parents were animals. And now it's time to get on the school bus, and there's all kinds of animals on the bus where there's usually people. And his school bus driver is an orangutan. What do you think might happen when our main character gets to school? Raise your hand if you have any ideas. I ran into my classroom, but my teacher wasn't there. I would have told the sub if she hadn't been a bear. There were beehives in my desk and lizards at my feet. A goat ate all my pencils. There were needles on my seat. There's a porcupine sitting in his seat. There's the beehives in his desk and the lizards. By the time I got to art class, there was nothing I could do. There were pythons on the ceiling wreaking havoc with the glue. Computer lab was crazy. The mice were eating slugs. The computers didn't work on account of all the bugs. Let's look at all these different bugs in the computer lab. And there's the mice enjoying their slugs. Our main character's having quite the crazy day, isn't he, at school? I tried to call for help, but a yak was on the phone. The principal was useless. He was gnawing on a bone. So it looks like maybe the principal is a tiger. Oh my goodness. The librarian caught me hiding, and she threw me quite a look. As I glanced around the room, I noticed worms in every book. The lunchroom sure was crowded, and the aides looked pretty mean. The lions and the wildebeest were causing quite a scene. They're making quite a mess in the lunchroom. The lobster in my lunchbox snapped its claws up in the air. A vulture watched me patiently so he could take his share. The turtles on the playground were spinning down the slide, while hyenas laughed in the chorus as a hippo took a ride. So for any of you that have been to the zoo before, I want you to imagine that you're back at the zoo, and I want you to think about all of the smells and the sights and the sounds of the zoo. And I want you to imagine all of those things taking place here in our classroom or here in our school. What would that be like? What would it be like if you came to school one day and a zoo had taken over? So I want you to take a moment and to consider that. Or if you haven't been to the zoo before, you might know some things about the zoo or seen some pictures. So I want you to take that information and I want you to apply it. And I want you to think about what it would be like for our school to become a zoo. So think about that for a moment and hold on to those ideas and those thoughts, because we're going to use those later today during our writing time. Music class was noisy. A penguin led our band. The ostrich missed his cue and the monkey smashed his hand. I was feeling kind of nauseous, so I went to see the nurse. But judging by her awful fangs, I thought she'd make things worse. So take a look at these illustrations with me. Here's our main character. He's entered the nurse's office. But take a look at the nurse. She doesn't look like our school nurse, does she? What kind of animal do you think the school nurse in this story is? And what do we know? What have we learned about this animal? That's right, she is a bat. And what have we learned about certain types of bats? That's right, that they like to eat blood. Back here, there's a poster on the wall. It says, "Please give blood today." Oh, I don't know. I would be a little afraid to go to the nurse's office if she was a bat. There were starfish on my papers and a beaver cleaned the boards. The seal clapped 2 erasers while a fox gave out awards. The bus ride home was dreadful. The skunks made quite a stink. Did the zoo trip cause this mess? I closed my eyes to think. The next thing I knew, the driver tapped my hand. Things seemed back to normal, with my sister eating sand. I sure hope that our next trip to the dinosaur display won't have the same effect as the zoo trip did today. But that could never happen. The dinosaurs are gone. At least I think they are. Then again, I could be wrong. So here's our main character over here with his dinosaur toy, and it looks like he's reading a book about dinosaurs. So in the text here, our main character explains that their next trip will be to the dinosaur display. And what do we know? What happened when our main character visited the zoo? What happened? Raise your hand if you can tell me what happened. That's right, his school became the zoo. So, I want you to consider what might happen after our main character visits the dinosaur display. What could happen? Turn and talk to a friend quietly. Let's whisper. Turn and talk to a friend and have a discussion and share with each other what might happen when our main character's class visits the dinosaur display. Make sure we're whispering, please. Okay, there is no text on this last page, but I want to take a look at it with you. So our main character is fast asleep in bed, but take a look outside the window. There is a dinosaur. So let's go back to our title page for a moment. I want you to think about your prediction that you made on this first page before we read our text. What was that prediction that you made? Raise your hand if you'd like to share your prediction. Okay, so you predicted that his school turned into the zoo. Yes, did anyone else make that prediction? Show me your muscles if you made that prediction too. Awesome. So, can we confirm that prediction using evidence from our text? I think we can. Remember, his substitute teacher was a bear. There were beehives in his desk. There was a yak in the office on the phone. His principal was a tiger. There was a fox and some starfish and a beaver in his classroom. I think we can confirm that prediction, absolutely. Very good job, my friends. And that was My School's a Zoo by Stu Smith and illustrated by David Catrow.